get help. That's what I do.
Let's do it then. I want to call to order the Tuesday, July 20th Plan and Zone meeting. We do not have a public hearing tonight, so we will move into the regular meeting agenda. Roll call, please. Commissioner Tallman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Schneider.
Present.
Lammers.
Present.
Johnson.
Present.
Tallman here. Ingram.
Present.
Hepner.
Here.
Bransgard's excused. Reinhardt's.
Here.
Manus is excused. Garrington.
Here.
Stelk. We have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Tallman. Laura, did you not hear from Jim?
I did not. I will give him a call and make sure we have his correct contact information.
Could you please, because this makes 2 meetings in a row, so.
Yep.
No. Well, just leave it as it is for now. We'll move on to report of city council activity. Laura?
The rezoning on Elmore for Elmore Storage was approved at the last meeting. Rock Church was tabled, and it looks like it's going to get tabled again. So I won't have any more updates for that rezoning for you for probably another month or so.
Sure. Thank you. Secretary's report.
Move the report.
Second.
Report's been moved and seconded. All those in favor as it's printed signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same signature. Hearing none, it's approved unanimously. Report of comp plan. Laura, anything?
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. There is no zoning activity tonight. We will move on to subdivision activity. We have one new business item. Commissioner Tallman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Case F21-07, request of Palmer College Foundation for a final plat of a 3-lot subdivision on 5.56 acres located south of 12th Street between Perry Street and Pershing Avenue. Staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission accept the listed findings and forward case F21-07 to the City Council with a recommendation for approval subject to the listed findings and 10 listed conditions. I so move.
Second.
Case number F21-07 has been moved and seconded for discussion.
Sure. So this is a 5.56 acre piece of property. It's a combination of smaller parcels owned by Palmer College. The street to the north is 12th Street, and then it's bounded by Perry Street and Pershing Avenue, and it goes as far south as 10th Street. So you may recall from earlier this year, Palmer College amended their major campus plan for this area for the purpose of constructing a new dorm building as well as a recreational field. In addition, as part of that process, they also vacated the 11th Street right-of-way, as well as one of the alleys in the middle of the block. So the current zoning is institutional campus, and the future land use plan shows the area as civic and institutional, as well as residential general at the north. So here we have the proposed plat. So it's 3 separate parcels. So lot 1 is the northwest corner of 12th and Perry. So that'll be the existing student apartment building. Lot 2 will be the new recreational field. That is, again, on the north, just south of 12th Street and Pershing Avenue. This parcel will also have underground detention. And then directly south is the larger lot 3, which is 3.5 acres of land. So that'll have the new dorm building and parking facility. And then the 11th Street vacated right-of-way is also on that lot 3. That will serve as a pedestrian corridor, as well as an emergency fire access lane for the new dorm building. So the findings are that the plat conforms to the comprehensive plan. The plat prepares the area for future development, and that the plat with conditions will achieve consistency with the subdivision requirements. So staff is recommending that the Plan and Zone Commission forward the case to the City Council with a recommendation for approval subject to the listed findings and conditions. So some of these are just housekeeping items, but I'll walk through them for you. So one is that the surveyor sign the plat. Two, that utility providers sign the plat when their easement needs have been met. Three is that a 15-foot utility easement be added along all street frontages. Four, provide a 15-foot utility easement along the former 11th Street right-of-way to accommodate a water main that runs through there. Five, include the curved central angles in the table. Six, modify setback lines shown on the plat for conformance with building footprints approved by the city council earlier this year. Seven, add a note stating stormwater detention and water quality treatment are required with this subdivision and will be subject to the applicable ordinances in place at the time of development. Eight, revise the last surveyor's note to read blanket access easements are granted to the city of Davenport for inspection of underground stormwater detention easements. Nine, include a note stating the development associated with this plat is subject to the Palmer College of Chiropractic Campus Master Plan as amended in ordinance 2021-106. And then finally, note 10, add a note stating the vacated 11th Street right-of-way is subject to conditions in ordinance 2018-107.
Thank you, Matt. I need to ask, is there a reason why the petitioner isn't here? Especially on a final plat?
We did have, IMEG was supposed to come, so they must have got their wires crossed. They had originally confirmed that they were going to be here.
I will preempt any discussion by saying if there are questions that any of the commissioners don't feel can be answered or feel can't be answered, I have no problem looking at a motion for tabling. So we will continue on with the meeting. Any questions from commissioners at this point on staff's information? Commissioner Lammers?
I have two questions. The first being the master plan. Did that include the original PID?
Yes, so it was the original master plan, and then the amendment changed. So this area was supposed to originally be two fields, and then they took away one of the recreational fields and turned it into student housing. So that was the amendment. So yes, the original PID, and then they amended it with this most recent one earlier this year.
So the zoning we're evaluating today falls within that
Correct.
original PID?
Yeah.
Okay. And then secondly, I'm just confused on the standalone residential multifamily little plot there. I thought there had to be a continuum of a zoning in order to be valid, and this is surrounded by everything but.
Yep. So it is allowed. So what happens with a planned institutional development is in order to be included in that zoning, the property owner needs to agree to it. That property is not owned by Palmer. It is owned by another individual. So it is zoning that was originally there before this area was rezoned as an institutional campus. So it is allowed to be there. Multifamily falls into the realm of residential general, and if you look at the map on the right side, that multifamily falls into the residential piece of the comprehensive plan. So it's okay that piece is there.
Even though I understand it historically being there and owned by someone else. If Palmer ends up being successful eventually buying that property, it would be rezoned at that time, or does it default into what we're potentially approving?
They would, if they want to do something other than what's already there, they would be required to add it into their planned, their master campus plan, and then rezone it into the institutional campus zoning district.
So last thing, is the continuum defined as not immediately surrounding a property? Because you're saying that the residential general to the right, that's still interrupted by a different zoning before you get to that residential general to the right. So can you just define continuum for me?
So we don't have a requirement for things to be contiguous in terms of the residential, and in terms of the land uses associated with it, it falls within our comprehensive plan. And that's what we look at for the zoning. It's not considered spot zoning. It was already there. It's got, basically it will have more housing, a multifamily unit to the south. That's what the student housing is basically. So the staff has no concerns about legality related to having that island there. And the purview of this is really, they're just cleaning up the parcels associated with this property so that they can build across lot lines per building code. And they will hold certificate of occupancy on the student housing until this plat has been approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lammers. Commissioner Reinhardt.
Thank you. I want to go back to my original question a couple months ago, back to the 100-year storm and the sizing of underground detention. Have we got any kind of answer from anybody yet?
Yep, so they do the Iowa Stormwater Manual calculations. There's a modified calculation that they do. It's based off of statistics, so it depends on the watershed and information they know. It's a readily acceptable calculation throughout the state, and many cities and counties use it. And so that's what we use. And those calculations are provided to city staff, our stormwater people, for review to make sure it's sized correctly, that the calculations were done correctly, that they have a maintenance and repair agreement, and that we have access for inspection. They need to release at a 2-year event from what was already previously there. So we're looking at changes, patterns and changes related to what they're seeing for storm water. So it's related to the amount of impermeable surface for a development.
I'm just thinking back to the storm that we had 2 weeks ago where we got 2 inches of water in an hour.
Right, so they are sized for a 100-year rain event.
Okay. And
Yeah.
the other question I have is the underground detention, when it overflows, where is it designed to go? Into the storm sewer or into the municipal sewers? Since it's underground.
I don't know that answer off the top of my head for this specific. I can circle back with engineering and the natural resources divisions and let you know.
I'm sure, okay. I'm sure they probably know where they're going to put it, so.
Yeah,
Just for my own
it's not my
knowledge.
normal purview. I let the other people that know how that stuff works handle the design of that piece of it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Reinhardt. Any additional questions? Commissioner Tallman?
Thank you. There we go. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to stay consistent with our policy of having an applicant here, or at least a representative, and with the questions that were just asked by the commission. I'd like to make a motion to table this for one cycle so we can have some representation here.
There is a motion to table this for one cycle. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I think, did somebody already seconded? Lammers, okay, got it. Okay.
The motion has been moved and seconded to table this for one cycle. Any questions about what we are doing here? We can't have any discussion about the project. I'm just looking for any questions about our motion. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Schneider,
Yes.
Lammers,
Clarifying, we're voting on the tabling?
Tabling for one
Correct.
cycle, correct.
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Tallman, yes. Hepner,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Garrington,
Yes.
and Stelk.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mr. Chairman, and that concludes the report.
Thank you, Commissioner Tallman. As we move on, it looks like all we have is future business, communications, et cetera. Anything?
So we will meet next meeting, otherwise we wouldn't have if this wasn't tabled. So I will make sure to note that to the petitioner.
Well, and
We
this
do
is a
have,
perfect example of where IMAG, being an engineering firm, could have probably answered Commissioner Reinhardt's questions. It's frustrating that they did
Right.
what they did.
right. So I am anticipating 3 new plats coming soon. I've gotten indications related to those that they will be submitted on Thursday. So I will double check that we get those and get them on the schedule for review.
Thank you, Laura. Anything from commissioners? Any other business that we need to discuss? Seeing none, I will say that the executive committee, Commissioner Tallman, myself, and Commissioner Manus are working on reviewing our bylaws at this point. You can feel free to drop me an email if you have anything that needs to be considered, but when we get this done in the next week or so, we'll bring it forward after having discussion with staff about any suggestions they may have, and we'll take a look at our bylaws. Anything else? See nothing?
Move to adjourn.
We've got a motion to adjourn with a second. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thanks again for your attendance. I appreciate it for such a short meeting. Thanks again.